How to pass your breastfeeding OSCE in 10 steps. Step 1. Read the scenario. So really read the scenario and see what information it gives you. Here's an example of one. Fatima is 5 days post-delivery. She is breastfeeding her new baby but has sore nipples and an unsettled baby. Please assist her to address these issues. So what information can we get from this scenario? Well, firstly, we have the mother's name. And by using the mother's name during the OSCE, you'll be able to demonstrate a personable approach. Also, it tells us that the baby is 5 days old. So again, by referring to this, you can demonstrate your knowledge. A good example might be that you can advise the mother on how many wet nappies she should expect when a baby is 5 days old. Also, it tells us that Fatima has sore nipples. So we might start to be thinking about positioning an attachment, and also that she has an unsettled baby. So again, this may make us think about ensuring that we talk about positioning an attachment and assessing whether the baby is getting enough milk. So there's quite a lot of information here, and it's all in just 3 sentences. Also be aware that your scenario may include a problem such as engorgement or mastitis, or may just suggest that the mother has breastfeeding problems. Step 2. Introduce yourself. Introducing yourself is easy. Say your name and your designation. Hello, my name's Judith. I'm one of the midwives and I'm here to support you with your breastfeeding. During the OSCE, the examiner's going to be looking for a clear voice, open body language, good eye contact, that you use plain language and avoid jargon, and that you listen. That's really important. And also that you have an open and friendly manner, so don't forget to smile. Step 3, wash your hands. If there is a sink, use it to wash your hands. And if there isn't, it's reasonable to explain to the examiner that you would wash your hands at this point. Step 4, obtain a history. To obtain a history, start by asking open questions. This gives the mother the opportunity to tell her story. You may also want to ask some closed questions in order to get a full and accurate history. And remember to be responsive to any answers that you get. For example, if the mother tells you that she's had some perineal trauma, check that she's pain-free or check if she needs any pain relief. Step 5. Explain the physiology of lactation. Your explanation of the physiology of lactation should include the hormones of lactation, the letdown reflex, and the demand-supply nature of breastfeeding. Students often worry about how to make explaining the physiology of lactation seem natural in an OSCE. I would suggest that by using plain language and avoiding jargon, and explaining to the mother that having a good knowledge of the nature of breastfeeding, that she will be more able to understand when things aren't going quite right and how to troubleshoot, as well as understanding what will encourage breastfeeding to go well. Step 6. Explain the benefits of breastfeeding. Again, some students worry how to make this bit seem natural. My suggestion would be to congratulate the mother on doing such a great job for her baby by breastfeeding, and also explaining that if she understands just how beneficial breastfeeding can be to herself and her baby, it will help her persevere and continue. Explain to her the benefits of breastfeeding to the mother, to the baby, and to the relationship between them both. Step 7. Observe a feed. Before you move on to observing a feed, make sure that the mother is comfortable. Offer her a pillow for behind her back or underneath the baby, and if she accepts, make sure you actually put the pillows in place, and then check back in with her. Is that comfortable? Is it okay? Or is there anything else that you need? And always suggest that she has a drink nearby whilst feeding. If possible, have a hands-off approach. But if you do wish to touch the mother or the baby, always remember to ask permission first. Then ask if it's okay if you observe a feed, as this will help both you and the mother see what's actually happening during the feed and pick up on any problems. Firstly, talk to the mother about feeding cues and what she should look out for, and then ask her to bring the baby onto the breast. This is your opportunity to talk about positioning and attachment. If the mother reports that the feeding is comfortable and all seems fine, then you can talk about how good positioning and attachment has helped this. If the mother reports that the feeding is uncomfortable or painful, then suggest she takes the baby off the breast straight away by using her little finger to break the seal of the baby's bottom lip around the breast. Then talk her through putting the baby back onto the breast, again by referring to correct positioning and attachment. I suggest you use the chin mnemonic to talk about positioning and attachment, and we'll come on to that really soon. Once the baby's on the breast and feeding, you can point out the signs of good attachment. Also, you can suggest that whilst the baby's feeding, that you give the mother some more information about the signs of thrush. You might explain that sometimes nipple pain can be caused by thrush, and that thrush tends to be associated with deep breast pain, severe nipple pain, and the pain tends to be a burning and itchy type pain. And classically, it's pain that starts after a period of pain-free feeding. And now for a short video showing breastfeeding support from Baby Friendly UK. It's a good example of observing a feed, of positioning and attachment, and also of the cross-cradle hold.
Although she began breastfeeding baby Rufus as soon as she could, Teresa needs reassurance. She has asked Nikki, a breastfeeding peer supporter, to come and make sure Rufus is feeding properly.
Little Rufus. I can observe a little feed maybe later. Do you think would he be ready to feed now? Or?
He might be.
Nikki explains that if Teresa's baby attaches correctly at the breast and feeds well, it will help her establish a good milk supply for the future and overcome their difficult start.
Just for attaching him, you could try attaching him in cross cradle. Do you know what I mean by that?
Is that where, I think I see it, where you put your arm across like that?
Yeah, that's right. And aiming nose to nipple.
Nikki shows Teresa how to achieve good attachment. Bring the baby's nose directly opposite the nipple. Let his head tip back a little so his top lip can brush against your nipple. This should make him open his mouth. When his mouth is wide open, bring him quickly to the breast with his head back and chin leading. The baby can then take a large mouthful of breast, not just the nipple. The breast will be drawn deep into his mouth, so your nipple will go all the way back to the soft part of his mouth and you won't get sore. So, once your baby's head has tipped back, your nipple will brush his top lip. Wait for the wide gape. Then bring your baby quickly to the breast, chin leading. In this position, feeding will be comfortable and your baby will be able to take all the milk he needs.
So long as you've got your position and attachment right, it should be like that. It should be nice and relaxed and enjoyable.
And now, as promised, here's the chin mnemonic. The C stands for close, and this reminds the mother to keep the baby close to her body and especially skin to skin. The H stands for head. This reminds the mother to keep the baby's head free to move backwards, and so the baby can get a wide open mouth and come onto the breast and get a mouthful of breast. The I is for in line. This reminds the mother to keep the baby's head in line with the body, tummy to mummy. And the N is for nose to nipple. It reminds the mother to aim the baby's nose towards the end of the nipple, again so the baby opens the mouth wide and gets the areola in the mouth. Step 8. Discuss hand expressing. So you might want to discuss hand expressing with the mother as she's feeding. It can be useful information for her regarding how to draw and store breast milk. Or you may have already discussed hand expressing with her as part of the management of engorgement. If there's a knitted breast available, use that to demonstrate, but there might not be one available, so do be prepared to give a verbal explanation. Also, direct the mother towards the UNICEF Baby Friendly Initiative website. There's a great video there which demonstrates hand expressing really well. By directing the mother towards the website, you're demonstrating your knowledge of the Baby Friendly Initiative, but you're also demonstrating your knowledge of the importance of giving resources to the mother and signposting her on to other areas of support. Now, a lot of students get to this point of the breastfeeding OSCE, breathe a sigh of relief and feel that they've finished. But step 9 and step 10 are really important to remember to include. So step 9 is make a plan. If your breastfeeding support is to be at an excellent standard, then including a plan is essential. The plan might involve letting the woman know when she'll next get some professional input, but also about what she might do meanwhile. So, for example, if it's in the middle of the night and she's struggling and she needs support there and then. And this is a great opportunity for you to demonstrate your knowledge of other breastfeeding support agencies. Step 10, document. Perhaps because documentation becomes almost second nature in midwifery practice, it seems to be often forgotten in OSCEs, and yet once again it's completely essential that you include this. Let her know that you're going to include your observations and your opinions, that you're going to include everything you've both talked about, that you'll also include the plan and anything that you've done during the time with her. And finally, you'll have some time at the end of your OSCE for reflection. I highly recommend that you use a model of reflection for this. It gives structure to your reflection and also means you're less likely to recycle what you've talked about during the OSCE itself. It can be used as a time to include anything you've forgotten or to correct any mistakes. But remember, the examiner's going to be looking for you reflecting on your performance and practice.